psychologist switch off?
Never,
You know what I mean?
never.
You think about that.
She does it with a cat, man. Oh, I'm getting into one now. To explain that, I've had a cat for nearly 15 years, Fabrizio, and
Fabrizio,
because he's getting old, me partner, being a psychologist, thinks he's a bit depressed because he's lonely. He's lived on his own. He's had, like, when I lived in a flat, and now we're in the house last year. And so I'm, and I'll mention this obviously, I'm an ethical vegan. And you have to feed, cats are obligate carnivores. You can't feed them a plant-based diet. Unlike some dogs, you can plant-base them. So basically, I'd said to my partner, I was like, look, after he goes, I'd rather not get another cat because I have to buy animal products. I'm trying my best to like avoid animal products as much as possible in my life. But then she starts talking about how he's all depressed and that, and then she really wanted another cat. So I was like, all right, I'll compromise. We'll get another cat. So we went to a rescue, and we got it about 3 weeks ago, a little black cat. And obviously we're trying to integrate them both, or integrate him to her, the idea of another cat. And he's not been as bad. He hasn't attacked her. He hasn't been as bad as we thought it would have been, but it's been a right few weeks. Like,
yeah,
especially as for the first 2 weeks, she was away in Skye, and I was just left
so
on my own.
Like,
she was messaging us every couple of hours saying like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Everything's under control."
Yeah.
I've locked one in a box, and the other one, Fabrizio's doing all right.
where does Fabrizio come from?
He's named after the drummer from the Strokes. I really like the Strokes, and it just sounds like a cool name. So I thought,
yeah, I thought it was a footballer, you know, Fabrizio, because it sounds like a footballer name.
well, Ravanelli, who used to play for, he's called Fabrizio
Silver
Ravanelli.
Fox.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah.
You're
talking.
You look a bit like Ravanelli, actually.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, very grey hair.
Martinelli.
That must be tough, that. So you said two big terms there. Ethical vegan, right? So not by diet, by choice.
Yeah.
And obligate carnivore. Band.
I've practiced obligate carnivore for a long time because people go, if you're a vegan, why do you feed your cat? People are always trying to trip up vegans on.
Well, try to trip up anything.
What's your shoes made of?
From, what you get,
Well, actually, they are.
Check
The vegan Adidas range.
Okay. Yeah.
What about your jeans? Denim's vegan.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it? Like, it's not leather.
It's not mad, that. Can you imagine if you flipped it around and you were talking to a carnivore and you were like ripping the pot? What's that top made of? Not leather, is it? No? All right, okay. All right.
I'm actually wearing this that's me cat. I just realised.
But you're right, though, it is mad to try and trip people up. If you're vegan, to try and sort of railroad you.
As soon as people start, I say, look, I've had this conversation hundreds of times. There's nothing you're going to be able to say it. Like, I've had everything like thrown at us. What about your car? What's it got? And I'm just like, just try your best to be as vegan as possible. Obviously,
when you're
it's
trying
not.
to fly the flag of any kind of group or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's what happens, isn't it? They come at you. They try and find a way in, trying to find your gaps in your knowledge. That's all that kind of stuff, you know. So. You know, the carnivore, you're walking like Arnie out of Terminator 2, like full leather. Coming like a bike, you're dressed as a biker all the time. Well, your skin's not loose. Yeah. Them glasses leather. Full leather.
Lard in the morning, like, moisturiser.
Like someone like Ed Gein or something, you know, some kind of horror show. But, yeah.
The best one was the COVID vaccines. So we tested on animals. So I got that thrown at us.
Yeah,
and it was like, not to want to get into a COVID vaccine discussion on a podcast, but
the first 10 minutes,
it was like, you got to take the vaccine now. I was like,
the vaccine,
off, man.
No,
I've never done that.
Well, that's a double whammy, isn't it? Because they'll come at you for two things on that one. Do you believe in it? Do you know what I mean? Do you believe in the aliens? Kind of thing. And then the test on animals. So there's two areas that can just trip you up. But
there is
it worth the argument though, Chris? That's the thing.
Nah,
you can get yourself in arguments
shut
about
up sometimes. I'm not bothered.
Aye, but it's exhausting, isn't it?
Aye.
And that's what social media's become.
I do know of some people who are like so vegan, so to speak, so extreme that they'll deny themselves like treatments. They'll have to try and go like medical treatment if it's been tested on animals. But then you think, well, I'm not that deep into it. Like, I just try my best.
Well, that's what Steve Jobs did, didn't he? Steve Jobs.
Excuse me, mostly.
Steve Jobs went down that kind of. I don't believe in doctors and trying to do it like homeopathically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that didn't work. So there's a choice in there, you know. But that's your choice and it's his choice and it's whatever. But it kind of I just don't like dying on the hill for one thing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Sometimes you like tea, sometimes you like coffee. Do you know what I mean? We can agree on what we like, listen to music, and then let's just crack on and move on with life. Because unless we said that to each other, you wouldn't know, like, politically, what party you vote for or whatever. Does it matter in the long run of me being a good human to you?
No,
And that's what bugs me about it all, you know? It's about good human, first of all, and keep your own. If you're going to argue about it, what's the point in talking about it? You know?
That's why I like, very recently, I've stopped following all the local pages, the Sunderland pages and North East pages and anything where, because I couldn't help but click on the comment sections. And comment sections of Facebook pages and Instagram pages are just like cesspits of people arguing over this shit and that shit.
But if you have an opinion, it's really hard to resist not reacting. I mean, you're like my filter now. I'll send you stuff and go, I'm going to post that. Because I can't, you read so many reactions, there's so much reactionary stuff out there.
Oh, massively, yeah.
And you feel like I just feel like a moral obligation to respond to it.
I'll discuss it with people. I'm a lot calmer nowadays if I do get into discussion. So every so often I'll post something on my Facebook page about whatever, like I lean over towards the left in politics and everything else. But if I post something, and back in the day, like, there was a correlation between when I used to drink and the amount of arguments I'd get into with people who I was friends with. Yeah. And I never used to accept that it was because I was a bit drunk and I was part of the problem. But there was times, like, particularly on a Sunday afternoon, I would like go training, go get me dinner, go see my mum and dad, and then go home. And at about 3 o'clock, I'd crack open a beer. Yeah. And then by 6 o'clock at night, I'm having blazing rows with people who I love to bits, like friends and that.
Justifying it in your head at the same time.
And like what you've just said there, in the long run, what's being achieved? Like absolutely nothing other than almost losing friends over being a bit too drunk to have a sensible conversation. So if I post similar things now and somebody jumps on the post and says something, they've either got it wrong or they disagree, I just calmly have a conversation, but only with people I know, because they kind of know the tone that I'm writing in. On public pages, like, somebody could write something and someone reads what's written and they read it in a tone that's like completely different the way it was written. You could write something really calmly and placidly, and if someone reads a thing and you're writing it sarcastically or something, then they kick off and then it just goes on.
Yeah, you can't read tone. You can't read the intent as well, so that kind of gets skewed a bit. I mean, we do it all the time with the WhatsApp groups, you know. It's like, if I'm a bit miffed and I'm a bit short with things, then that comes across as like double miffed, because that's just the way I operate anyway, because I'm just operate on get to the point down straight away. Because when you know somebody, you can kind of just drop all the nice P's and Q's, can't you? It gets to that. But for me, it's been I just can't get my head around you're all in one camp or the other camp on absolutely everything. That just, you're putting a block up of experiencing life and what is out there, because you might change your mind and opinions along the way.
I mean, that's the thing. I heard you say leading the left, I do as well. But like, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of moderation to try and sit and have like a nuanced conversation with somebody now, because it is polarized. So you either sit over here or you sit over there. There's no room in the middle, and it takes a lot of confidence, and I don't know how to describe it. It's like the conversation I had with John yesterday when we're talking about political parties and where things are heading at the minute in the UK and in the North East. It was refreshing to hear somebody speak an opinion that I totally disagreed with, but neither of us lost a temper. We just listened, heard each other, try to reason why we sit in those different positions. But we don't have room for that in politics or in anything else anymore at the minute.
Not on social media. I think because social media is the main forum where people are discussing these things. Yeah. And again, you can't read tone. People seem to be entrenched in their position. I've got no doubt that my experience in the past of being drunk and then having blazing rows with people, it's happening all over the place. Like I would go on a post about pick any subject, not to go into specifics, especially now with the way the politics is now. If it's a political subject, I'll go on anything and wind up people. Yeah. And then people, if it's a Saturday night or a Friday night, you've almost guaranteed that there'll be people who are absolutely mortal posting all kinds of stuff, being vile on any subject, political subject, and it's just horrible to read.
Yeah.
But trying to have that, I'm fascinated by people's opinions on whether it's like politics, and particularly politics and religion, and those two things are like very polarizing. I'm not religious myself, but I'm fascinated by people who are religious.
Yeah,
so I like to have conversations with people who are religious.
Yeah.
And same with politics. Like there's someone I know who's like a friend, a really good friend, and I'll not say too much because I don't want to particularly identify, but has come up with some really vile things. And I've had conversations with him away from the posts he's putting up about it all. And then eventually I was just like, we can't talk about this stuff anymore. Because when you try to have a conversation, it's like, do you know when people post stuff and it's like they'll post the headline?
Yeah.
Then you'll challenge them. But they'll not go beyond the headline any deeper because their knowledge extends only so far. It seems to extend only so far as that headline.
But they haven't formulated the argument behind the headline.
Just come up whatever it is.
But nobody reads after paragraph 1. That's the problem. Nobody ever reads after paragraph 1.
They'll just repeat
clickbait
things
stuff, and then they'll just copy paste and send it out. You're going, but do you understand that every single subject is nuanced? Every single thing has multiple layers in it, and you could go, well, you believe in that. Can we go back to when you started that? This could be 20 years ago. This could have been as a kid. This could have been how you raised. There's so much about that, and I'm more interested in the human behind that, what led them to get to where they are now.
It's funny you should
That's fascinating.
That's the thing now. So when I'd discussed it with my partner, and I'm like, it just seems really weird. I cannot marry up the bloke that I know with the things he's coming out with. Because if you'd said, do you think they would come out with that? I'm like, well, I know him as like really helpful, kind. And this is happening a lot, like where you see a different side of people, but then my partner's like, well, I wonder why. And I think like that now. It's like, right, I know loads of people now who go in one way or the other on a lot of subjects. Instead of me going, you're a twat, and you're full of shit, or I'm right, and you should think the way I think. I'm thinking to myself more nowadays, like, wonder what's led them to think like that. I wonder what their lives are like where they've gone that way. And hopefully they're thinking the same way as me. It's like, I wonder why he leans a bit left.
Is it because of the world that the journey that you've gone through as well, Chris, and who you're surrounded by now? Because you've seen behind the curtain. You've put yourself out there because you've been through so many things. You know what I mean? We'll get into it as well a little bit. But I think that kind of thing helps you understand other people and give them room to kind of air their graces and stuff like that. Because you can see it. You can see certain things. Go, there's something wrong with you. Do you want to talk about something? Because you know people and you know them because of the things that you've been through yourself.
I am definitely, as I've matured, some people will laugh at that, me saying that, like, but as I've got a little bit older and certainly not drinking and living a fairly, some might say, a dull life now of sobriety and just going to bed early, doing exercise, all that usual stuff that's going around now, like eating well and drinking water and all that kind of thing. It's given us a much calmer sort of view of life and a much calmer way of dealing with things that might in the past have triggered us into a more extreme reaction of maybe that person who I was having them discussions with who were coming out with some really extreme things. In the past, I might have just went, right, I don't want to be around you anymore. I'll block you on social media and I'll just not talk to you, and that's that. But nowadays, it's more a case of maybe if I just somebody who I knew through social media, I might just like shove them on one side and think, well, what's the point? But because I know this person in real life and I like them and I think a lot of them and we're mates, it's like, all right, well, let's stand back here without passing too much judgment. Because at the end of the day, like you meet people, you become friends with people, you don't know what happened to them 20 years ago. You don't know what's like led somebody having these more extreme views of life and opinions, and it's not just a case of either like people get accused of being racist very quickly nowadays, and some people are, but a lot of people, I think, like now I'm just, rather than thinking you're racist, I wonder, like, how have you come to this position? What's going on? And a lot of people in that position, a lot of people are in the position of, tell you what, like, my life's absolutely shit. It's been shit for a long time. And someone comes along and says, well, it's their fault over there.
Well, that's the point of where we're at the moment.
That's
well, the only thing that's going to heal society at the moment is that position. Is people taking that approach to understanding people and having empathy for people and having a bit of compassion. How much of that has been because of, so you said sobriety. How long have you been sober for? Like, what's that?
Well, my journey into sobriety, it sounds really grand to say I'm live a life of sobriety, because I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic. I'd struggled with cocaine addiction in my 20s. I was like, stopped at 27. I'm 48 now. So it's like, it's a long time. So well over 20 years since that all stopped. Done a lot of work on myself to make sure it didn't come back. The drinking thing, 2020, January 2020. And I'd found myself drinking far too regularly. And I was drinking every day without particularly realising that it was a problem, because I wasn't like getting told every night. I was drinking like 3 or 4 cans, maybe sometimes just 2, but every night. I was still training, doing me like triathlon stuff, like keeping fit and everything, doing all that, but then getting home and having a few drinks. And then it was an advert or a bit on TalkSport where they were just talking about, like, do you ever count up how many units of alcohol you drink? Because there's that, like, recommended for men and women, recommended weekly units. And it just sparked a thought in my head, and I was thinking, oh, hang on, I already knew I was over the recommended units. And I was thinking, hang on, when's the last time I went like a day without having a drink? And it was only the weekend when I was like just sitting at home getting drunk and then arguing on social media. But then I thought, well, God, and then I couldn't remember when I hadn't had like 1 or 2 cans, and I'm thinking, that's not, drinking every day can't be good for you. So that made us think, and I was like, right, so it was January. It wasn't like a New Year thing. It was into the New Year. So it didn't lead up through Christmas or anything. It was January when all the thoughts started to spark. And then I kind of thought, right, I'm going to cut down. So through the week, I'm going to make an effort not to have anything, drink at home, and then I'll still have a drink on a weekend. So it wasn't like, Christ, I'm an alcoholic and this has gone wrong, that's gone wrong, I've lost a job, or I'm losing money, or friends and things like that. Nothing major had happened. It was just thinking, through this, after hearing this thing on the radio, maybe I should like address this. So I made the effort and said, right, stop through the week. And then that first week, the Monday and Tuesday were pretty difficult because it was just habit to go home and crack open a beer. And it was like through the day, what would happen was I would have a few beers, then get up the next day, feel a bit groggy, gone to work. And I think, I'm not going to have a drink tonight. And then by the time 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock rolled around, because it wasn't like major, I was feeling all right. And I was going, right, I'll go and do my training, go home, crack open a beer, have a beer. Oh, it's nice. Relax.
That's the difference, isn't it, between dependency and alcoholism, though, isn't it?
Like you were just in a habit. So it was
that just, you hadn't realised that it had become a habit.
And so in that first week, that Monday, I was like, I was at work, and then I was on the way home, and I was thinking, I really fancy having a beer now. Like, and I think that also, there was another voice in my head saying, you shouldn't feel that way. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't feel like that was a bit of a craving. Mm-hmm. And then in my past history of cocaine, it was like, that mirrors slightly how I felt about cocaine. So it was like, right, don't have anything to drink. So the Monday and Tuesday I found really difficult. But then the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I started feeling, within that short space of time, just fresher, and my mind was a little bit clearer. And I was like, by the Thursday, I was thinking, I've had like a bit of a mind fog for the last God knows how long without even realising, because it wasn't like I suddenly started drinking. It was just that build.
Yeah.
And then by the Friday, I was thinking, I'm going to go and, even though it says I'll still have a drink on a weekend, I thought, I'm not going to have anything this weekend. And then it just snowballed into, I feel much better here. I've got more energy. My mind's clearer. I'm not barneying with people on a Sunday on Facebook. So it was like, that's a little bit better. That's an improvement. So I kind of then thought to myself, if there's a special occasion, if there's a wedding, I'll still have a drink. It was never I'm never drinking again. Like when some people have that moment where they think, look, I'm going to make this declaration of I'm never going to drink again. Because alcohol, to my mind, I didn't have a problem with.
Yeah.
Unlike cocaine and ecstasy where I was like absolutely hammering it, and I couldn't go into social situations without either half a pill or having a bag of cocaine in my pocket, and by the end of it I was just taking cocaine at home. Yeah. With alcohol it was a lot, like, it wasn't that dependency. It didn't give us massive like mental health problems like anxiety, which came with the drug use. With the alcohol I was just a bit and then I wasn't a bit and I wasn't arguing with people on Facebook, and I just felt physically I got more out of training. So then that special occasions thing of drinking, it was like I just got into the habit of not drinking. Mm-hmm. So when a special occasion came along, I was just like, I'm not going to bother. Like, why would I?
Because you don't miss it, do you? You get to a point where other things are in your life that you're not missing out. And I think sometimes it's the reward thing. You go, fancy a beer, because you're rewarding yourself for doing a triathlon, or you've been training, and you're going, well, I can have this now. This is my little payoff for what I've done today. But I like your approach though, Chris, because you've been through other things, and you've been through hell on another side with the drugs, but you still let yourself drink alcohol as well after that, and that didn't become an issue. And then you just kind of almost went, let's try it without. Because now I think usually people go, I drink or I don't. Do you know what I mean? They're hard on one way or the other.
Aye.
When was your last drink? And I'm like, well, you might have a wine now and again, you might not, but some people say it as, once again, are you in the camp of drinking? Are you in the camp of not drinking?
It goes back to labels, doesn't it? Like,
but again, we're here talking about the same thing, but with alcohol. And I think it's a societal norm to have a drink.
Totally.
And when you don't, people look at you differently, because they say, man, Dan, do you drink? I'm like, nah, when did you stop? I'm like, I didn't exactly stop. It's just when I had the wine, I'm like, I can actually have a crack around the table without needing the drink. And it just wasn't fitting in my lifestyle. That was kind of it. And I felt better the next day.
Can I ask you both a question though? If you had a glass of wine next week, would you feel really bad about yourself?
Yeah.
Would you, Chris? Or would you feel like you'd sort of drop the ball, or would you just...
I think I wouldn't beat myself up too much, because when we're, like at Ice Guys particularly, when we're talking about alcohol, we always discuss about cutting down, rather than we never say it to people, or I never say it to anybody, or you shouldn't drink. If somebody was splayed out and they've got into themselves into some bother, I might say, well, you might want to think about your drinking and stuff like that. But we're kind of taking an approach of like cutting down, just trying a week without drinking, and see how you feel, and see if it's the same as what my experience.
It's encouragement.
But I wouldn't and we've discussed it in the WhatsApp group that we've got for Ice Guys, and it's like, look, if you start something that's good and then you drop back, try to have it in your mind before you start it, or when you're getting into it, that it doesn't matter if you drop back a bit, as long as nothing bad happens. Somebody gets drunk and gets behind the wheel and kills somebody or damages himself, you've got something to deal with there. But if you go out for a drink and you can't a match, and then you meet some mates who all have a drink, and then you have a pint, then I feel bad about that. Like, trying not to stigmatise things that in reality, same as like drinking or not training or people's diets, and like if people want to like diet to lose weight, it's like, don't worry if you have like some chocolate here, or you'd have a week where you're not dieting, you can get back on it. It doesn't matter. Like, don't stigmatise things.
Isn't it?
You see the healthy side of what he's talking about. What's a healthy way of approaching
but it is.
I
often talk to people about diet, because like we approach it in quite a punitive way, whereas I think like and that comes from the way we treat things, like stopping things culturally. So if you look like, is it Stoptober and all that? Is it, what do you call it?
That's Stoptober.
Like that whole I'm going to go at it as much as I can, but then I'm going to stop for a long time. And then I'm going to berate myself if I fall off the wagon. It's not healthy.
No,
it's like a pendulum swinging from what it goes back to that polarization.
Yeah, but they do it behavior. Yeah, but they do it dry January. You go, I can't wait until like the 31st to over there. I'm on the first. I'm like, why is this a goal? Just do it. It's sort of, I'll do it on Monday. Just start at like 3:30 on a Wednesday. Why do you have to? Why do you need a Monday at the end of the week to start? I don't get that kind of mentality. I mean, you asked me there about the alcohol. Would I feel bad? I would go, yes, but for me, it's because why did I do that? Why did I need that? And for me, it's more like the calorie intake. I see it as a waste of calories, but that's how I see it.
Aye.
Because my eating issues are from that. Do you know what I mean? And I've always had that. So I've got to control it, or I'll go way off the rails. You know,
I'm quite protective of my sobriety, and somebody like people who start it off. I always say like if whatever it is, if it's drugs or if it's alcohol or gambling, in Nice Guys, as some of the lads up at Tyneside have come from a gambling addiction history or background, and whatever you're stopping or whatever you're trying to get away from, if you do a day, like bank that day, and think to yourself, if you do get tempted, well, I've got that day in the bank, I'd quite like to protect that, and then use it that way. Then you've got 2 days, quite like to protect that. Right, I've got 2 days, I've got a week, and then just builds up. So me, the 20 and a half years that I've got away from cocaine means way more to us right now than if you put a line of cocaine. I'll be like, I know that feels mint. Still feel that. Like, I know that's why I used to take it mostly. It's like I would be high and it would be great, and for a bit it would be champion, but then I've lost that 20 odd years. And like the alcohol, not so much. If I took cocaine or drugs or ecstasy, they were the 2 things that I think I'd be devastated. That would, because that's 21 years, and that was a problem to us.
But you had a problem with that, so I think that's the thing. Like, you had a problem with that, so that means more to you than the alcohol would do.
Aye.
So I think that's it there. But you'd be hard on the paint on doing that. The thing is, it's kind of we're getting into it now. Like, it's that. Don't feel too guilty about having a drink and falling off the wagon with some sugar, but you kind of just, I might have a line now and again. I might put a bet on now and again. Do you know what I mean? Because that will send somebody.
If it's your problem,
but that's the thing. If that's your problem, we need to see that as a problem. And to cut that off hard could be a good thing in a way. So, you're talking to me about my food thing. I have to do that because that's my problem. Other things aren't an issue for me. So, again, we're talking about nuance in subjects. It is, isn't it, mate? It's one of them, Chris. It's so difficult.
If I had a beer, it might be, you're right, like it might be a bit less. I might question myself and go, what was the point? Because you like not drinking.
Yeah.
And if I had like, I don't know how much it would take us to feel, might only take like 1 or 2 beers to have a hangover now, because it's that long since I've had anything. So I might, if I sat and had a hangover, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine a time when, like the kind of my friends group, there's a lot of people don't drink or don't drink to excess. I don't go out drinking anymore. Like I don't go out where people are drinking anymore. I like go for meals. But
has your friendship group changed over the years since you made
kind of already
decisions?
It already had really. Like the more I got into triathlon, and then the friend group I had anyway, like everyone. A lot of people had got like families, and so they had kids, and they naturally like. Well, I'm not going to get out on the lash all the time, but kids to look after. So people just moved away from it, which made it quite a little bit easier. The fact that when I stopped drinking, I didn't have like, I gone out on a Friday night. I gone to like the club, or I gone out on the town and things like that. I've stopped going clubbing a long, long time ago. So in that respect, my social life didn't really change that much. So it wasn't as difficult to cut down then stop than some other people. Some people might have, like, say some lad comes to Ice Guys and that's the only time we see them, and then the rest of the time they're with a different group of friends who've gone out drinking, gone to the match, and at the match they start at like 11 in the morning and they get tanked up. Them are the people they're going to match with. I would find that really difficult. It's hard to be that sober person around people who are drinking, because not so much because you feel, oh God, everyone's drinking, I really want to have a drink. It's like you just lose the thread. They gone up.
Yeah, you totally shrink your world a bit, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I quit drinking for a full year, the year before last, and I loved it. But it did, I mean, like, because I'm a Sunderland fan, I go to the match, I had a season ticket. But I remember, like, the experience of those things started to change quite dramatically. So I'd drive here and I'd park the car somewhere, I'd go to the match, I wouldn't meet up with people. I'd go and watch the match and I'd go straight home.
Aye.
And then it didn't lose its appeal, but it just became a very different thing quite quickly.
Yeah, completely. It's the same if you went to a match with your kid or something like that, with your family. That's a different experience to going out with the lads and having a drink and having a good old time. Because you know the fun never stops, does it? Do you know what I mean? But it is that. I mean, now lifestyles have changed a lot. I've seen like younger people are drinking a lot less. I mean, I went to the gym this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Young.
There's like 40 cars in there. They're all like grinding away.
They're going for coffee and meals, and I'm like, hang on, you're 19. You're not getting smashed all the way.
Yeah, but it's a lifestyle and what you were doing at the time, and that's it, you know, because we've all been there. That's why we're sitting there now talking about the past. Do you know what I mean?
We kind of come up in the like 90s when we started going out, so it was just like you'd gone out on a Friday, gone out on a Saturday, and you gone out on a Sunday,
and then you wind down on Sunday.
And now it just doesn't happen now.
Social clubs were still massive, they were still buoyant, and they were still busy. Drinking was cheap. It was culturally entrenched, you know, like we all did it. Families,
I kind of get out how expensive it is to drink.
Yeah,
like how people gone out and spend like 100, 150 quid on a night out, I'd be devastated. But becoming a bit tighter in my old age as well.
We used to go 20 quid to go home with change.
We were just saying that a few weeks ago, and we were talking about ice guys. It was like, if I would gone out with 30 quid, I'd get a taxi there, taxi back, and I'd have pockets full of change. And we were all like, God, we're getting old now. Like, if
30
it's what our fathers used to talk about.
I know what them triathlon bikes are expensive, mate. You know what I mean?
Very expensive.
You think, like, I need some new rims on there. Well, I mean, just for anybody who doesn't know, Chris, I've interviewed you for Storyland, and your full story is on there. So it's an hour and a half of your journey through addiction and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to go and check that out, have a look at it, because we won't have this. But similar to other lads and the ice guys as well, it's sort of, you know, we've got Reese on there. Bless him, I love Reese. And we've got Craig on there with the gambling, alcohol, yourself, the drugs, and it's kind of the stories on there, and people have changed their lives. Reese ran the Great North Run in a frog suit 2 weeks ago.
I know, it's class.
And that's just now, that's his thing.
Did you see his finish line?
No, I didn't see.
He done a leap, left over. His thing on, he put a post up, he says, there's only one way for a frog to finish the Great North Run, and he like sort of hopped over the finish line. And like, if you can do a half marathon, then squat down and jump over. I was like, either you're very fit, or you haven't ran hard enough on the half marathon. Like, but he is, that was mint.
It's one of those when you know his journey and you've seen him grind and get through it, and now he's doing this for fun on a Sunday in a frog suit.
So lovely to see.
It's such a good thing, because now he's got that purpose, because it's like from dark days to where he is now. I mean, it's amazing, you know, I've seen all you lads, and you know, something to be proud of.
I went in the ballot for next year. But I got rejected, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to run it in dressed as an ice cube for ice guys. But I like
actual ice.
I like 4 melt, totally.
But I wanted my face to be out the front of the ice cube and like run like that. Because if anyone who knows I've talked about this so many times. Like, if I see someone in a fancy dress outfit, like, do you know when people are dressed as a banana and their faces, it just makes us feel so happy. And they're like running along. They're even better if it's like the advertising is their job and they look a bit pissed off. It's just like sail on bananas here, and they're just
that's what we're just saying about sausage rolls. Sausage rolls. The theme has crept up.
So I'll have to get. So now I'm thinking I'll find, like, because with the cat that we've just got from the rescue place, I might go and dress as a cat.
Just as a cat
for a cat rescue place. Get
just a cat in each cage. You know what I mean? You just do the run along, you know, planes and trains where he's running with his bags to the airport. You just do that.
I'm not tatting out cats. They're already annoyed. So I'll be just like running along.
You take your cat out walking. Is that right? He's got a leash.
What you brought that up for? Can we cut that out?
Have you? Don't feel ashamed. My brother-in-law
phone back.
My brother-in-law does it as well.
Socks, man.
I have. That is me cat as well.
Oh, that's
my partner got is them.
Fantastic. That. Yeah.
I was like, what's this? My birthday last
week. And I
was like, what's this? Socks. And she was like, yeah. I was like, socks. I was like, you're joking, aren't you? Like, that little prick's face on. Well, I love them. Like
cat pillow and cat.
He has actually got a harness. Yeah, that was.
I've got whiskers on the front. What do you think? It's shoes off. They pop out like that.
That was my partner again. Didn't give our ideas.
I only ask because I've seen it on. I've seen you post on Facebook,
actually,
and I'm like, cats just don't normally want to do that. Because when we first got our cat, we tried to like take him outside. We bought a harness thing. That wasn't happening at all. We couldn't even put a collar on him. You know, so I'm amazed that he actually went with it. You know,
I am because he didn't. It was it last year? I think when we first got him, which he's like 14 now, so nearly 15. And I was saying to her like, well, I want like a suit of armor before we're trying to put this on him because he's kind of gone absolutely light. Like he doesn't. He's really good at getting collars off.
Yeah.
So I mean, he doesn't like having a collar on, let alone a harness. Yeah. And literally put it out his head, closed it, and he was fine. He was a bit like, what's this? But then he was fine with it. And we have took him out once or twice. He likes it in the car. He prefers that to the cat box.
Yeah.
But he looks cool as out in it. Like he's got his little tactical response vest because he looks like a little body armor and that. But when she got it and she was like, great, and I was just like, right, here we go. I was like, right, Fabrizio, this is going to be all right, mate. Struggle had like one of them little tubes of the cat crack, and they got crazy. I was like, he was like sniffing that, and like put him on. I was just like, I can't believe that. Like, but
so we put like a vest, a harness on my dog. He looks embarrassed.
Does he?
Right.
Just looks up at you.
He just looks because he used to have a bright red one. He looked like Ming the Merciless. Had a collar around the.
What sort of dog is it?
Honestly, well, I've got a Sprocker Spaniel, and he looked like. Do you remember D'Artagnan? The Three Musketeers Hounds?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Cardinal?
Yes.
The red cape and that. You look like him, and I used to think, mate, whatever you do, just don't look at your reflection in that glass when you're walking past because you look ridiculous.
Well,
bless our pets.
Yeah, I know, that's it. It's can I just get you to scoot a little bit? All right, okay, hang on.
You're doing a Michael Dixon?
Michael Dixon. I ended up on the other side of the couch. Chris, it was funny. Like,
I'm just trying to get away from Dan a bit.
I know, man. I tell you. Tell us about this.
I'm already regretting it. How long is this going to go on?
It's probably because I've interviewed you like 4 times or something for everything. But let's get on the ice, guys. And what
I will say when he mentioned the storyline thing when Dan invited us onto this, I was like, I'm not going through that again because I was like, because it told the whole thing and like went really like deep into the history and I'd never actually done that before. I've talked about it, but never actually sat down, focused on it. And I got home and I was just like, I was exhausted, like, but it was really good to do. It was quite cathartic to actually do and then put it out. And then somebody else, it says, they sent a message on Instagram just saying, do you want to come on and tell your story? And I was like, I'm politely declined because I says, well, I've done it and it was quite emotionally draining, so I'd rather not, but like, best of luck with the, and they said, oh yeah, that's fair enough. So I like wouldn't honestly anytime soon, like I wouldn't sit down and do it. So lighten the mood a bit there, Dan.
Yeah. Well, it's a different.
This is the light side.
This is the light side, and well, that's the thing that is with Storyland because it's just us sitting down together and me just understanding what the journey is and what the story is, and that's where you end up because you're just one-on-one talking in a room, and it is emotionally draining. But I get so much from it. It's unbelievable what I get. It's one of the most, and I've got back so much from doing Storyland than anything I've ever done, ever. But the connection I get from people as well, and that's what I love about it. So, it's just a privilege to do that, and actually people that open up about their stories is fascinating to me. So it helps yourself, helps you figure out your own stuff, and
you just said it was cathartic. It
was totally. It was tiring and everything, but
it is emotionally. It can get emotionally exhausting because it is like it's an intense therapy, and but it's starting off. I don't know where it's going to go, and it's just see where the journey takes you, and that's kind of what the whole thing is. Let's talk about Ice Guys and what the purpose of Ice Guys is, and what you're doing at the minute, because you've got a few new things kicking off, haven't you?
Well, I've recently, in the last year, we've developed things, maybe in the last year or two. But Ice Guys itself is a men's mental health organisation, so it's a community interest company that we set up in 2020. It was in between the lockdowns when it first started as Ice Guys. Then the idea came from our mutual friend Hayley, who'd set up Wild Sea Women, and she basically said, "Why didn't you set up one for men? Because they were purely for women." And I was like, "All right." So it was that. Well, I didn't have the idea. It wasn't my idea, but I was like joke on, and we just copied off the lasses really. But we started, and when we started, it was just a dip. It wasn't a community interest company. That came a year later.
Had you been doing it yourself though? Personally?
I'd been swimming. I came to swimming through triathlon, so openhearted swimming came with triathlon. But for the first couple of years of triathlon, it was like swim in the summer and then just put your wetsuit away and don't swim through the winter. Like, wouldn't dream of getting in the summer without a wetsuit. And then it was my friend Kevin Petrie who swam with us, and he heard about the Roker Bathing Club who swam through the winter. So I got to like late September, early October, and all the triathletes were like, right, that's it, wetsuit away. I'm back in the pool and nice winter training indoors and everything. And then he'd said to me, "Oh, do you fancy coming down to the Roker Bathing Club?" So I was like, "Yeah, right." And so I went down and we put our wetsuits on, and there's this group of Rajis who, like, a lot of them now my good friends who were getting in without wetsuits. So we were just like, I wouldn't fancy that because it was already getting cold. Yeah. So we did that for 2 weeks with wetsuits, and then he was like, "Shall we get in without wetsuits?" And I was like terrified, like, of getting in because it was freezing cold, and we hadn't got in that temperature before. So we did, and I still remember walking in and just thinking like, "Oh, this is horrible." This.
Remember your breath?
I was just like, I was held my breath. So I was just like, and he was getting in. And we're both like fairly like slim blokes, so we didn't have any padding or anything. We were getting in. It was just like, and the rest of them were just like walking in. "Oh, this is lovely," and we were just like, "This is shit." But got in and got out, got changed, and it was such a buzz of like doing it and getting over that challenge, and just immediately hooked into that. And so I kept going for Roker Bathing Club. It was probably like 2 years after that, maybe a year after that, when Hayley set up Wild Sea Women, and then Ice Guys came into existence just as a casual group. There was no, we put a Facebook page up and that was it really, just put the call out, and it just kind of grew from that, like on a weekly. It started on a Sunday night actually, the Roker dip, or our Sunderland dip as we call it now. And then just built it up from there. And then a year later, again, Hayley, Wild Sea Women, she got advice saying, "Oh, you should be, now that you've grown a bit." They grew massive. We were still fairly small. And it was told like about community interest companies. I'd never heard of CICs or KICs as they call them. So again, just copied off Wild Sea Women and set up as a KIC, and didn't get any funding for a couple of years. We applied, got knocked back, and I'm like not really an admin sort of bloke, so I was just like, I can't be asked with this with DNR read. But then did score some funding a couple of years ago. We ended up getting 2 funding pots. We ended up just over 10 grand we got, which in the general scheme of charities and KICs and things doesn't sound very, very much, but to us it was brilliant. Like, and we've done so much with that money, and only now, a couple of years later, am I now applying again out for funding because we've done a lot with that 10 grand. So it's a men's mental health organisation with the ethos of just trying to improve men's mental health just by creating...
Did you see a big response during lockdown? I mean, like, in terms of your group, did it grow quite quickly, or did that happen organically?
It kind of went up. We had 9 blokes the first week. Then it went up within 8 weeks, and I only remember this because of the Facebook post, but within 8 weeks we had like 40 blokes there. But then lockdown, we got locked down again. Yeah. So then we always kept ourselves right with regards to the lockdowns. So then it dropped off again, and then it just built very steadily, and it built to a point where, because at first, when we first became a KIC, it was kind of like, oh, this could become like a job, a living. And at first I was into that kind of idea. I was like, oh, that'd be brilliant. And then the more work that had to go into turning it from a bit of a sideline to then possibly turn into a living, I was just like, I'll be honest, I couldn't be asked to do that level of work. I just couldn't be. I didn't want to do it in that way. And I had a job I loved at the time. Like I loved working at Royal Mail, and I was a trade union organizer. And it was like, I don't really want to do it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought like, I don't want ice guys to become a thing where I'm making money from. Like even now, I don't take any money from doing ice guys. And now it's become, even with the funding applications, we got told, you can apply for, and within the funding application, you can put your wages in because you're running a business. So it's like it's a bit like a charity, it's a bit like a business, but you're right in the middle.
So it's all about a kick, isn't it?
So they said like, you can put in X amount of, across the year, you can put in like a couple of grand if you want, like, and I just went, no, I'd rather not, because I don't want it to become, I need to make money out of this. If I suddenly started making money from it and then that was part of built into my yearly earnings, I wouldn't want to then have that attitude of, right, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. It's much more relaxed, whereas like the stuff we're doing now, we need funding for over the next 2 years, like small, it's less than 10 grand to run for 2 years, what we're doing. So it's a small amount, it's easy to manage. If we don't get the funding, we'll carry on. We're not dependent, because that was one of the best bits of advice we got from the Northeast Business Innovation Centre, the bit which were really good and still helpful now, is you don't want to be reliant on funding. If you do set up a business, you need an income. And it was like, it's a lot of work there, like to get at that point where, and I was thinking, right, how do we make an income from it? Because we'll never charge for dipping in the sea. It's a lot of, if you start charging people for getting in freezing cold water, there's a lot of safety measures and everything you have to put in place. So now we do beach gatherings, and then the dip's optional. So if you want to get in, it's everyone's own risk. And then the other sessions that we do, we're set up with that money. But if we don't get that funding, we can still do our dips at the sea. We can still, like lads have says, like what we do. So we do the beach get-togethers. We've got walking football session. We do guitar. We've got a guitar learn to play guitar program. And the most important thing are the therapeutic workshops that we put on. And we do all of those once a month sessions. And lads who come to the football, the guitar lessons, the guitar program pays for itself, so lads pay for that. But part of the funding application, I may not want to cover the one after the next one that was starting, that would be funded. So no one would have to pay for coming to the guitar lessons. But the guitar sessions, at the minute, that pays for itself. So lads pay 40 quid for the 6 month, and then that covers the cost of it. The therapeutic workshops and walking football are free, and want that to carry on. And the lads who come along, and I keep everything really open with the lads about the money and the funding and everything. And I've says, look, the therapeutic workshops and the walking football, the things that get paid for with the funding, and they've, like a few lads have says, look, we'll chip in and cover the cost. And so, and like the football, it's once a month, it's 25 quid a month. Like I would just pay that myself if I guys didn't have any money. But for me, it's all really, it's very simple. It's fairly easy to manage. Someone else does me accounts. Friend Jason Waite from Waite Accountants, shout out to him if I'm allowed, who's been super helpful with all that. So the stuff that we've done and the stuff that we'll continue to do, it's built up that like community to the point where if some of the sessions that are free are at risk, lads have stepped up. Because some lads are like fairly well off.
That's
like,
the key to these things, isn't it, though, Chris?
Not fairly well off, but I've got enough money that if, like, I wouldn't want to suddenly start saying for the therapeutic workshops, I would never charge for them. I would just pay for the hire of the room and then cover the cost of the people who lead them. The walking football would be a little bit easier to say, right, we need £1 off everyone, or we need £2 off everyone to cover the cost. But I don't want to do that. I'd much rather speak to the lads who says, well, on the side, I'll chip in a £5 or a £10. Yeah. One lad says, well, I'll pay for it. He's quite well off.
But do you think that comes from the sense that you've built up a genuine, because going back to your point, I think lots of social enterprises or community interest companies now, they're either taking funding where they feel like the tail's wagging the dog, and they're sort of they're not independent of that funding, so they become led by the funding.
Yeah.
Whereas you've built it in a way that it is it's a grassroots community
group.
Aye. So that even if the funding's not there, I mean, I guess you still feel it as a duty for these things to continue happening, irrespective of whether there's funding coming from elsewhere.
Yeah.
But to have built that up and to have people who've got that ethos where they're willing to chip in and make it happen anyway.
Well, that's come from
organisation.
I think that's come from the 5 years in the time that we've put in without any funding. We did like 3 years without getting funding. We did 2 years as a kick and no funding came. And that was because the knockbacks that we got for funding, I was just like, I can't be bothered with this. Like, I put like hours and hours into this application. But then a friend who's knowledgeable of the area, he put us in touch with somebody who cleans up bids.
Yeah.
And so they cleaned up our lottery bid. So we got $9,000.
Yeah.
And they were like, it was like a no win, no fee type thing that says, look, we take a certain amount.
Now, some people,
these
things,
there is a formula.
Some people have said since, there's people who do that for free and they shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, look, my view is we got $9,000, they got 500 of that. We got 9,100, and they got 500.
And it's a skill, to be fair.
And I was just like, when I sent them the one that got knocked back, we still asked for the same things, but they cleaned it up in language where it was more clear of what the goals were, how we're getting over. Because I've had no training, like I don't know.
Well, no, because you'll speak emotionally about the project.
Yeah.
They'll see it through. I mean, we've talked about this all the time.
Yeah, it's how you
speaking the language of the people that are going to fund something, and they're looking for certain things, and it is an art to understand how to communicate.
And I thought that was a lot. Well, not a lot, but some people it says, they shouldn't be charging for that. And I was like, that's some of the best 500 quid I've ever spent. That because we got 9,100, which we wouldn't have got.
Yeah.
Now it would have been great if at the time somebody had says, "I can clean up, I'll do that for now," and then they cleaned it up and we got it. But I don't see anything wrong with that person charging us 500 quid for us to get 9,100. I would do that every time. Somebody says, "We'll get you your funding that you need to run the stuff that you're doing, but we're going to charge you a small percentage." I'd be like, of course.
It was admin fee. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. You just say there's admin fee, and it's you don't have to do that. Give it to somebody else, and then if they can win it, then you're not wasting 2 days of your life not winning it. Do you know what I mean? It makes all the sense to me. Yeah,
because my applications basically read like, "Can we have some money so these blokes can have some fun?"
Yeah.
And even though it's behind, like men's mental health is behind it. We're playing football, we're learning guitar, and we're swimming in the sea. There's therapeutic workshops, are hard to dress up as fun. They're like super serious. But to run them, we need a lot less money. But the other stuff, it can be seen as, you just can't do that yourselves. There's loads of places playing football. There's
but if you're a bid writer, you'd be like,
it was brilliant. It came,
social isolation.
When I read it and it come back, and I was just like, and like that, we got it. Wasn't even waiting for the rejection. It was like, that's meant that.
But the thing is, you're doing it the way people want it to happen, because the guys won't turn up if it's forced on you, or you're dropping in these buzzwords, because they'll just be put off by it. You're going, lads, we're just going to turn up on a Sunday at 8 o'clock and then we'll just go dipping if you fancy it. That's what people want, and I think that's what realistically a men's mental health group is. It's a place for somebody to turn up, have a natter, have a coffee, and they meet up, and like-minded people have a chat. And I think that is what everybody needs. It's not like in a room, one-on-one, sitting talking to somebody. That's another level of therapy which people need. Yeah. But you can actually signpost them to that as well. And you can actually action that.
Well, our workshops are led by mental health people who are trained in mental health. At first, it was my partner. She's a psychologist, and then she can't do them because she's in Glasgow most of the time doing a doctorate at the minute. But the people who lead it, like the lad who's leading it at the minute, Liam, he's a counsellor. He's trained, so he delivers it. It's not like a peer-to-peer support thing. If somebody came, lads can still talk. They can still discuss their issues, and we can all get around. But we've got a professional in there, and I don't know, but if that profession, if somebody's might message Liam and say, look, some of the things you said there, is there anything deeper available? And Liam might be signposted. I've always said, like, look, we'll signpost people if you need signposting. We're not a professional mental health organisation. We just aim to create social spaces where men can come and just switch off for a bit. Just come and have a bit of crack. We approach it, if somebody says to us, do you do peer-to-peer sessions? I will go, we don't, but James Space North East do, and Andy's Man Club, and there's there's services like If You Care Share. They do those things because I wouldn't set up a peer-to-peer support group because I know I can signpost people to that. We're doing this thing that we want to do, and like with Space Northeast, like James, they're like, I've said like advertise, you come into the WhatsApp group and put your stuff in there. Like it doesn't matter to us. And there is a bit of that in the community interest company, in that space of they'll run it like a business and they won't cross over, or they'll rival other things. But that's another good thing of me not needing to run Ice Guys as a living, that it doesn't matter to me if Andy's Man Club or Space Northeast want to advertise in now with Space. They come, we invite them to like come to the sessions and things like that, and then I'll signpost people to Space and that kind of thing.
No direct competition, because we've had James on as well, and that's kind of, I think it's important.
He's class, like, it's brilliant what the work that they're doing. And like some lads will come to Ice Guys and be like, oh, it's not really my kind of thing, and they'll go into Space and they'll be like, this is what's going to help. And then we've had some lads who've gone to peer support groups, and it just wasn't for me, but like I've come to Ice Guys and it's just we approach it quite irreverently. So that if you wanted something super serious, I would say, well, you're not going to find that at Ice Guys. You're not going to find sitting around the table discussing your problems in a really deep, serious manner. You'll find a bunch of blokes who are dead chilled out, who understand that if somebody new comes, there's a chance that they're coming because of their mental health. So it's not like a lads group. It's not like but it is slightly, I guess there's a level of humour to how we approach things, and it's not as serious as maybe other groups are, for good reason that them groups are serious. It's just, and you'll see that like on our social media and that, like we're hashtag Neil Lasses, and we'll see like we're always joking on about like lasses, Neil Lasses can come, but the hashtag.
But there's actually a seriousness beyond that though, because it makes you feel much more open and like inclusive. And when if you're a bloke who's not used to going into spaces like that, you've got to you've got to try and find ways to communicate with people that make them feel that they're not going to be.
And it's kind of how I am as well. It's like it's ran like that's how I am. Like I like having a bit daft laugh and stuff, and I try and approach life as sort of relaxed and with humour and not like totally super serious. But in the way that the community's grown, that's how it's gone. That's how it's grown up. And lads will come and they'll have a bit of a laugh. And if that doesn't suit somebody, well, there's other things for them to go to. But nobody's. One thing that we've done for the funding, or one thing I've done, I put a call out, a request to the different groups that we've got to just send feedback on why you come to Ice Guys and what you've got out of Ice Guys and would you recommend it and things like that. So then we can, if funders ask, we'll put that in the funding bid, some quotes, put them on social media like anonymously. And I've had a few responses, and reading them responses is like quite emotional actually, of like lads are getting a lot out of it. Some lads like just come down for the crack. Some lads have got absolutely no mental health issues. They come down, they like getting in the sea, they like having a bit of a laugh, they like taking the piss out of me for being vegan and have a stupid haircut, and they're like, and then they can. But I think on one level that is maybe without them knowing it, or maybe they do know it, they're supporting their mental health by having that space where we can just come and have a laugh.
I think you're right, I think you're completely right. It's that. It's a place for people to gather and to talk and stuff like that. And there's various levels of mental health as well.
You find the camaraderie as well. Like, there's no more of a leveler than everybody getting into the cold water with each other.
Oh, everyone, doesn't matter.
Like, and that goes on. Must be
brilliant. Like I get in, and like people think because I started Ice Guys and run Ice Guys that I love getting in the freezing cold, and I'm some sort of Wim Hof.
I was going to say Wim Hof, you made the transition.
I fucking hate getting in the cold.
So from what you said, from being a slim guy without a wetsuit, have you not made that transition where you just walk in, you're like,
nah, I wish, but I'm walking in, I'm first one out. I'm last one in, first one out.
I've filmed them before. I must say, Chris is the most reluctant, like, do you know what I mean? But you're the one who's like managing the group, and the other lads are just floating around. Oh, all right.
Psychologically, I have an issue because, I've got a few, but like, because I lead the breathing, we do a bit common breathing beforehand, and then the lads, most of them are ready to go, so I'll do the breathing. I'm like, right, lads, get your clears off and in you can. And then I'm the last one in, so I hear, especially through the winter, in my mind, I'm hearing people going, And like psychologically, I'm like, right, it's freezing. So I'm already psyched out somewhat getting in the water, but then I'll get in, I'll be like, right, is that 2 minutes? Or is that 3 minutes? And lads will take the piss, like some of the lads who are like of similar build can stay in. Some lads can stay in ages, and some lads are in and out. Some lads 1 week they're in for 20 minutes, the next week they're in for 3 minutes and they're out. Well, that's what I say to my guys. Well, you've got a bit of padding on you, and we're triathletes. I mentioned that every 15 minutes. I'll tick that off. Mention that. Next up,
everyone always rinses you. Chris, you mentioned triathlete yet? Do you know what I mean?
Like, actually, no, not in that. I've got me 15-minute windows.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're kind of running it, so it's running it, and that's different. Like you being in it and breathing, then going in the sea with a bunch of people. You're like, just hang on, I'll just quickly do me, get me clothes off and then get myself in, following them.
What I would hate is if I went down to Ice Guys 1 week and there wasn't people tapping the piss. Because I'm like, I worked from 19, I worked in at Royal Mail, which is very male dominated, and it was brutal when I started. It was looking back, you think now, it's just that I was getting bullied to death. Yeah. But I loved it, because it was like just blokes who were a lot older than us. I was quite an immature 19-year-old as well, and it was like blokes who were ripping the piss out of us. Yeah. But I loved that, because I felt like, to me, I was accepted and I belonged. And it never got to the point where I felt like, this is awful, it was never bullying, but it was just like, I hate the word banter, but that's what it was, and it was good laugh.
Lost a little bit of that, haven't we?
But at Ice Guys, if I went down there and there was and everyone was just like, aye, so blah, 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 and then I'd be like, something's gone on here.
Come on, get the piss out of us or something, will you?
When I switched jobs from Royal Mail, and I went to become a swimming teacher, and it was a very different environment, and I miss that so much, and I still miss working at Royal Mail and the union. And even though the job I've got now, the team I'm within now, there's a bit of that. It's not that level of absolutely brutal, just come out with the people, know your weaknesses, and they'll just they know, because when you work with people for that long, they know a lot about you, so they can properly dig into your soul.
It's like family,
I love it. I love it. So digging into your soul. They can just reach in and go, this thing, I'm going to take the piss out of that thing. Remember that thing that you were almost crying about? There. And I'm just like, thanks. But I said to my guys, when I went back to the union office, the first time I went back, I just sat down, and the first thing someone was like, what the fuck are you doing, you prick? And I was like, yes, give us this, come on, do it.
You should get them down on a Sunday. Well, I'll meet you in the sea on a Sunday morning. We'll see. Trying cocky you are now.
Trying to get some of my closest friends down is a hard job. But we do, to go back to what you asked about, the community thing, that's the thing that's how it's grown up, is just really organically, and not asking for things and not saying to lads that we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to do that. It's just the fact that the people who offered to cover costs, they've been coming some of the longest and they're embedded in it and really helped to support it and run it. And I think they know that it's Ice Guys in general, and myself, is coming from a place where we don't want money from it. We're not running other than trying to keep these spaces going and keep improving men's mental health, because I've got the feedback, and I know it works for me as well. People sometimes forget that I haven't got bulletproof mental health. I have my ups and downs. There's been times when, particularly when I changed jobs and it hadn't quite worked out, and there was that time when I went down on a Sunday morning and I'd left that job. I'd handed me notice in and left that job. And I had 1 day of teaching assistant supply work lined up. 1 day. So I'd gone from a job where I'd been really secure, 26 years, very secure, looking to me pension at Royal Mail and thinking, I'll have done 40 odd years and I had it all planned out, to then changing jobs, then not quite working out for us. And then leaving, having handed me notice in with 1 day of work lined up. And I went down on the Sunday morning and I was terrified, because it hit us, and I was thinking, hang on a second, what if I go to this? Even though the agency I was going through, it says if you're going into teaching assistant work, 1, you're a male, and 2, you've got the experience of dealing with people and having that, and the time as a swimming teacher, teaching children, and there was, like, I love kids. And so this says, like, you'll never be out of teaching assistant work because there's a dearth of male teachers really in the teaching profession. So even though they said that, I still only had 1 day of work lined up. I was like, what if I gone there? And then they say, oh, that's it. Right, well, and then I'm looking for the work. I'm like, I haven't got the money to last. So I was in this sort of bubble of, like, or maybe not bubble is the wrong word, but this moment in my life when I was thinking very uncertainty after so long of all that was being certain. So I went down to Ice Guys and I was like, telling them, I was like, oh, I'm in tomorrow, I'm starting this placement. I said, there's only 1 day. And then one of the lads, Dom, he looked at us and he was just like, things will be all right. Things will work out. And in that moment, like, he didn't say anything other than that. He didn't say, I tell you what, I own a business and I'll give you a job if it doesn't work out, or here's a bunch of money that will tide you over. He just went, nah, don't worry about it. Things will work out. Things will be all right. And I just settled right down.
It's not like it's a masterclass in being present, though, isn't it? That just in the moment, you're looking too far ahead, you're looking too far back. Just focus now on the now. And like, it just shows how something it was like just, it does.
You've done that. You support them now. They're supporting.
And he was right, actually, as it turned out, like it did. It worked out very well. And I always remember that, like, it's just one of them moments. I think because it was a moment of, like, uncertainty and worry and anxiety, and it could have definitely, if that hadn't worked out on that teacher, I would have been like, shit, I need a job.
But when you've had so much, like, when you've worked for so long for somebody, you just catastrophize straight away, don't you? If that's been taken away,
I'm quite good at not doing that, but because that was a very new situation for us, and I was very much missing, like, Royal Mail still, because it was only 6 months, and I was like thinking to myself, oh, I've made a massive mistake, and I should have stayed at Royal Mail, even though everyone at Royal Mail was telling us, oh, you've done well to get out. But in that moment, and then just damn words, and it was like, you know what, that's maybe you're right. I think you're aye. And I was fine. Yeah. Like the rest of the day. And then I went to the placement, as it happened, the lighters, and I stayed there for about 3.5 months. And then ended up getting the job I've got now, which sort of came from getting the qualification I had as a swimming teacher, even though that job didn't work out just because of the hours and things. The job itself was great, and the people I worked with were brilliant at the place. Still in touch with them now and happy to recommend them and everything else. It wasn't like nothing bad had happened. I just couldn't get used to the hours.
So what are you doing now, Chris?
So I work at Sunderland City Council. So I work for Active Sunderland Department, which it's community work. So it's kind of, it's brilliant. I absolutely love it. Like,
it kind of it fits exactly
really
what you
love
do.
It. Like it's perfect. Like, and it's so the basics of it is go out in the community, try to set up or support programs that help people who aren't currently physically active to become physically active, and in a roundabout holistic way improving social health and mental health. So even though it's called Active Sunderland and it might sound always all sporty and everything else, it's a lot deeper, and it's so, like, it's class. I get to go out in the community. I get to, like, speak to people who, even though I'm from Sunderland, there's places in Sunderland that I've not been or I've just drove past. Like, I'm doing a lot of work in Hendon in the East End over the next sort of coming years, and I've got to go down there, and, like, now I know people down there, and I love the fact that from a standing start of, like, don't know anyone in that area, I've got to go in. I've got Sunderland City Council either on my badge or on the uniform that I sometimes wear. That puts up barriers to some people. Some people have got good reason why they're not keen on the council, or some people just like to moan at the council, don't they, wherever they live. But having that challenge of going in and then putting the groundwork into that community work and just speaking to people and hearing their stories, a little bit like what we were talking earlier, like, you think a bit, whatever someone's opinion of, to like think, like, well, why have they come to that opinion? Not simply think, I disagree with that, you're a dick for thinking that, and then either having a go at them, but then digging deeper, I have to do that for the job as well, because if I went into an area or a place or an organisation and says, right, next week we're going to go for a walk, nobody's going to come. But you've got to go in and do that groundwork and get to know people and go back and back and back and make links with organisations in the community and get to know people who work in governing bodies as well. So it runs right across the spectrum, and from a background, when I've done triathlon, I'm triathlon coach outside of work, And then Ice Guys, from that background of like starting something and very community based and trying to get people to do things that they might not have done. You've got to put that groundwork in. You've got to put the hours in. I've stood at Ice Guys where there's like 2 lads turned up sometimes. We went up, then we went down, and then it dropped, and then it ebbed and flowed. And even now, sometimes there's like 6 lads, and we'll sometimes have 30 lads. Yeah. But thinking, not getting to the point where it's like, there's only 2 lads turned up. I can't do this anymore. Or like the coaching that I did, like set up coaching things, and sometimes I'd set up like run sessions on a Sunday morning, and it'd be like me stood there. And they'd be like, well, I'll go for a run. Yeah. But then think, this is not working. Think, no, this will work. People will come, but you've just got to keep going back. Put that groundwork in, that long-term groundwork. So a lot of what I've already done now, I'm transferring that to me job. I was
going to say that, just like, building. It is, completely. I love it. It's a superpower.
Everything that you've done is where you are now. It's cool, isn't it?
But like, so the person who's my manager, who's brilliant, super enthusiastic about the work, the community work side of it as well. So say like have a lot in common with her. I'd messaged that because I knew her from, I used to run triathlons for beginners, so like triathlon races, so very short triathlons called Go Tries. So I'd known who's my manager now through that. So I dropped her an email when I was like looking around for work and that, and basically saying, if anything comes up at the council at Active Sunderland, could you let us know? And I can remember, I'm getting excited just talking about it. I remember she emailed us saying, there's this position, you might want to look at this position. And I read the description in the application, and I just said to my partner, I was like, I want that fucking job.
Doesn't happen very often.
I want that job, and I was desperate to get it.
Did it really speak to you? Because it doesn't happen very often where you go.
I read it, and I'm like, I do that already. Yeah. Like, and I love Sunderland. I love being from Sunderland. I love living in Sunderland, and through this job, I can like now make, and it's good employment. I'm not, but through this employment, I can have like a small positive effect on the community that I live in, that I love, and which is why like I'm getting excited now. I'm like feel the same as I felt before I got the job. Yeah. Because I can remember then going for the interview, got me 3-piece suit on, my record of achievement. I was sat, which they didn't open, they didn't look at, but I was sat in City Hall. Like I got into town. It was about an hour and a half before. Like I live in Sunderland, so it wasn't like, and I drive, so it wasn't like I couldn't have left half an hour before the start time. I was in town an hour and a half before, so I'm wandering around. I think I look like a proper like dick. So I just look like someone who was going for a job.
School record of achievement, the burgundy one. I love it.
And I was just, it was in the loft at me mum and dad's. So I was like, I don't even know where it is.
God, honestly, how retro there.
So I was like, so I was walking around like. I didn't even put it in a bag because I thought, I didn't want to go and wear a bag. So I was like, because all the bags are like sporty bags. So I was like, right, so I had me 3-piece suit on and everything. And my hair tied back, trimmed me beard and that. And then I thought, right, I'll go into City Hall. It's like 40 minutes, I'll go into City Hall. So I went to City Hall. So I've got an interview at this time. And she was like, okay, we'll message up and they'll come down for you. So I'm sat at City Hall and I'm sat there. And I was like, I got this moment of like, I couldn't look any more like somebody who's going for a job. I'm sat here. I'm like in my 40s.
Someone threw you a record of achievement.
3-piece suit as well. Me fancy tie that I paid like loads of money for. Me the shirt that I got from Master Debonair that was like 95 quid, which is extraordinarily expensive for me to pay for a shirt. It was like, and I was just like, right, it's on though. And then I went. Funnily enough, I was so nervous because I was thinking, I was like, don't screw this up because this job's mint. Yeah. And then, the person I work with now as well, he came down and took us up, and there was 3 people. My manager was one of the people, and then the person who was in charge of Active Sunderland was another one, and then somebody else who's higher up, the bloke who came down for us, was sat there, and I was like. And I put my record of achievement down, and I was
slide across.
Ready.
Just went, take a look at that.
They might as well have just went, bump. Yeah. That's not what I ever did. Why you've brought that, I don't know. It was, and then they started like asking us like about like obviously, why do you want the job? And so I basically said what I've just said there, and like passionate about Sunderland and everything else. And then they were asking us about like what things I've done that link us in why I would be good for the job. So I just started railing off like the stuff that I'd done. And there was one point when they said like, what have you done in the community where you've identified a need and responded to that need? And like, it's Ice Guys, but I'd started to get like a bit nervous through it. And I was like, I'd blanked a bit, and then I started talking about triathlon, and then, well, you've spoken about triathlon. And there was what now looking back feels like about half an hour of just silence in the room and me going, I don't, like just froze. It was probably a few seconds, and I just like looked, and I just went, well, Ice Guys. And then I could see who's now my manager just went like, and I just went, right, that's what they were looking for. So started talking about
you to see it, and to see value in it, I guess.
You know what I mean? And there was a point where they were like, and they'd said like, as far as it, because I'd realised I'd never actually done a proper interview for a job. I was in my mid-40s. Like the job I got at Royal Mail, my dad worked at Royal Mail, so he basically said, fill that out as a part-time job, Gan. You'll have to go in for an interview. But I basically knew I'd had it already. So I went in and had a big crack, like 19-year-old idiot. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yep. And then a day later, right, you start next week, was in that job for that long. Sort of worked my way in as a union rep. You volunteer as a union rep. It's not a paid position, so you don't have to interview. Developed in that. The swimming teaching job was offered us because I knew the lad that runs the swimming school, and I'd actually gone to the swimming school. He coached me, and then I'd spoke to him and says, can I come and watch you do your thing, just to pick up some tips for my coaching? And eventually, because at the time Royal Mail were going through strikes, and he was asking about that, and I was like, oh, things don't seem like as secure as I thought they were. And he was like, oh, well, we've got jobs starting here in April if you like to think about coming on here. So it was basically like, yeah, all right. Well, I thought about it for a fair few months to leave and change. So I'd never actually done an interview for a job where it was on the line and I really wanted it. So in that interview, I was just like, I was talking, and then that moment when I started talking about Ice Guys, because now I say that now in my job, not just me, like the active Sunderland will look at the community, identify the need, respond to that need, like in the community, using community partners. So it's kind of what I've done almost with Ice Guys. And so I spoke about Ice Guys, and then at the end, I feel quite emotional talking about it. Like,
I understand
in the end, like it was like an hour and 10 that was in the interview, and then I found out after that like no one had been in the interview for that long. Someone had been in for like 20 minutes.
When you started talking about Ice Guys, did you settle down? Did you realise that it fit?
Well, it was when I saw who's now my manager nodding, and I was like, that, like, I was just out the corner of my eye, and then I was like, that's what they were looking for. And I was like, right. And because Ice Guys is like, it's just there, I just tell the truth. That gladly, that's what fit. But then at the end of the interview, it was like, oh, have you got any questions? And I was just like, oh, when will I find out? Well, actually, you're one of the last people that were interviewing, so you'll find out tomorrow. So I was like, all right, that's thank you. And then I was like, thank you. Thank you. It's got me record of achievement. I was like, I'm actually pleased it didn't open that, because it's just...
it doesn't open. Cages are stuck together.
They're plastic cages. You have to like rip them apart.
I can still smell it.
I know.
The smell of the
what's funny? The plastic sort of... the smell of underachievement. That's what mine smells of.
I should bring them back.
Do not even have them now. No. I'll be digital now.
Digital.
Some of my school reports were in there, and I read them, and I'm like, Jesus, that's me. I'm still that person now. I nailed it there.
I wish I'd known, Chris, because I could have put a show reel together of my stuff of you. It doesn't need to talk. Here's Chris. Just press play, and I could have put on a full show reel about Ice Guys, about you, about your history, about what you've gone through, because I kind of steal your mantra all the time. Good people doing good things. That sticks with me all the time, mate. And I use it. I'm sure I use it on the title of the short film I made with you as well.
I say that, like, through Ice Guys, through the trial, when I took up triathlon, that was like another big moment. I think I must have said it in the storyline that, like, taking up triathlon completely changed my life. and it would be a mystery not to shout out Paul Robson, who's better known as Rockin'. I seen him this morning actually down road. That led to everything I'm doing now. Like that moment of like him saying to me, being enthusiastic and saying to me, come along and try. Like he was not like, and he was so welcoming and so enthusiastic. And then when I started training, like my thought before I started training was like, Jesus, I've gone to these triathlon sessions. Like everyone's going to be like super fit, dead intense in that. But the community I found in triathlon of like really welcoming people, even from the higher end people, like made me feel welcome, encourages to stick at it even though I was like crap, and just made it an enjoyable place to go to, regardless of the fact that I was getting fitter. It was like an enjoyable thing to go and do that was positive. And like ice guys came from the open-hearted swimming. The job I've got, part of that was I could apply for that job because I had one of my level 2 coaching was through triathlon, and just having that sort of confidence, and that's come from like that moment of like meeting him and him saying come to sessions, and me agreeing to go to the sessions, like come from that, like, and like sliding doors thing. If I hadn't gone in that day, if someone else had, like, because I wanted to buy a bike, if someone else in cycle world had served us and not started talking about triathlon, I wonder what.
Yeah.
If I just bought a bike, or if on that day he just didn't mention triathlon, even though he's worse than me, like everyone who guns into the place, I would say about 80% of triathletes in Sunderland were forced into triathlon by Rock. So triathlon changed my life. What was the point I was on there, by the way?
I mentioned good people doing good things.
Oh, right, yeah. So through triathlon, like it's built on like volunteers, and then setting up races, and we're doing races. I needed volunteers to marshal, so people would come and do it. With Ice Guys, like the other organisations, like Andy's Man Club and particularly Space North East, who we've got a close relationship with, Man Up in Durham and Man Club in Durham, and If You Care Share, like you see these people and you come across these people and you think like you're doing it for you didn't get out.
Yeah.
Or even the people who are running community interest companies who are taking a wage from it, like, you deserve that because they're doing way more than I do. Like I run Ice Guys just on the side as a bit of a side thing, but they've put their heart and soul and their time and their lives into it. But you do, and in my job I'm doing, like at the council, like I go into areas where community centres are like hubs, and there's people in there, volunteers and all these people who are doing these things for that community with the intention of just trying to help people. And like particularly what we were talking about earlier, how society seems polarised, but for me there's a leveler, whereas like regardless of your political opinion, regardless of my political opinion, we're in very similar boats. Like we might be politically complete opposites, but in the society that we live in the same boat. I mean, is like we're just a few. I'm working full time, but a job I love, run Ice Guys and that. If something happened where I couldn't do something like that, I'm not in that position where, say, if I lost my job, like I'm not in a position where I'm comfortable enough to be able to sustain the life that I've got now. Like basically, we're only one or two unfortunate circumstances for being somebody who's really in need.
Yeah.
And it won't matter what your political opinion is, you'll be in need.
Yeah, we all love the same things. We all lose the same things.
Yeah. Aye. So that's why and it's another thing that's on my mind, where it's like, if I'm having discussions about politics and somebody's saying X and I'm saying Y, I think to myself, right, you're not like a multi-millionaire who's coming from a business, I want to protect what I've got. We're pretty much the same. We're in the same social area. We just got different opinions on how to help people or which way to go. And but for me, that leveler is in them community centres, or the work that I do for the council. Doesn't matter. Like if someone comes and they want to join in or they want help, we don't ask people what their opinion on religion is. We don't ask like, who would you vote for? It doesn't matter. That's not a question that gets asked, and it's just a level playing field of, you know what, where I'm in need. Well, I know someone that'll help you, or I'm the person to help you, or I'm the person that needs help. Like sometimes I'm the person that's reaching out whether that's through Ice Guys or whether that's through, like, I'm healthy at the minute, but it might be the doctors, or it might be through my knowledge of community, the good people in Sunderland doing good things. One day I'm going to need somebody, and I am. And it might be tomorrow, might be later on today. Like, these unfortunate circumstances might come, and it's just, for me, knowing that there's so many good people doing good things, that balances off the stuff that's going on in society at the minute, whether that's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's arguing over who should be in charge of the country, or Keir Starmer this, or Nigel Farage that, or Donald Trump, or this, like, all that stuff that gets magnified. But when it boils, like, what makes me think, I'm still quite positive about life, and a lot of people are, like, really worried, with fairly decent reason, are worried about the future, but I'm concerned, but not to the point where it's overtaken the fact that I know there's loads of good people who didn't give a shit whether you're over here or over there. Don't care what your opinion is, but care of the level of need that you've got.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'll not say to somebody who comes to Ice Guys, what do you think of this? And if that's different from my opinion, like, we've banned politics in Ice Guys. Like, I'm really super interested in politics, and I'll read about politics and I'll talk about politics with people who want to. But in Ice Guys, it's like, we've got 2 rules: knee lasses, knee politics, and that works. The knee lasses thing is a bit of a joke. Somebody once said to us, what if someone who's born male comes and identifies as female comes to Ice Guys? I'm like, mate, it's not that deep. Like, it's not like we can't have a woman near us. We joke about, like, on the beach, if any women come close, we'll chase them away with sticks.
Yeah.
But if what's happened at Ice Guys, we've had a female who's contacted us, my friend, contacted us saying, I've got my mate who's a man who wants to come down. Do you mind if I come with him? I'm like, I come. She got in. She joined in with the breathing. She got in the dip. I told the lads, I said, look, my mate's bringing somebody.
Yeah.
And, like, he came without her. If someone comes down, it was funny one week, I wasn't there, and it still carries on. That's another good thing. Like, if I'm not there, it carries on. Like, Ice Guys can keep going. I went down and they were like, oh, last week, like, 2 women come over our fire and says, can we get warm near your fire? And, like, we all just froze. We didn't know what to do. We're just looking around saying, well, would Chris tell them to get away? And I was like, just let them. It's not that. Yeah. It's not that, it's like,
a check thing, it's because it's got Ice Guys.
But the knee politics rule is 100%. Don't bring politics to Ice Guys, because it's so divisive. And what I like, in 5 years, we've never had, not to my knowledge, 2 blokes having an argument where they've ended up falling out. One of them have stopped coming to Ice Guys. Others are atmosphere. And I know it's because in the WhatsApp group, even if someone posted an opinion that's similar to mine, just be like, nah, I delete it. Yeah. Delete it, and then message them, and I'll put it in the group. I'll remind people of the group, and everyone knows now. It's like, I've put posts out saying one of the things, like on the Ice Guys official thing, where don't put nothing political goes on there. And I've put on, like, one of the big things that's kept Ice Guys as that place where men can just come and relax and have a laugh is, we don't allow political discussion. Yeah. We don't allow, like, if you want to, just go and have it somewhere else. Yeah. And that's worked.
Yeah. Right. Well, speaking of divisive conversations, we're going to go to our menu, Chris, and this might throw a few spanners in the works.
That was the most.
Is there animal products on that menu?
That's up to you.
Well, it depends on how you rate it.
What's it made of? It's not leather bound, is it?
Well, we'll not be thinking about that for the minute. But, right. Pick anything from there, and we're going to do your Greg's order last one.
Hey, that was the most serious transition of the menu I've ever seen you do.
No, it was completely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was like Parkinson or something.
Thing
is, I've spoken to Chris loads of times, interviewed him loads of times.
I know, I'm a bit sick here, actually.
No, but I can still have another 4 hours.
Yeah, like, do you want to come to Ice Guys to get it off your chest?
I do want to come to Ice Guys.
Come down.
Funnily enough, we've got a gift for you at the end. We've got some oddballs pants to give you.
Oh, really?
And we thought if you go, we'll do a little film. We'll come down with you, give you some oddballs pants, and we'll go in the sea with you.
Ask you some more questions.
Duncan Peerless done modelling for oddballs.
He has, Duncan.
Amongst other things. Right, starters. Curry, plant-based. Not Savoy, obviously. Even if it was plant-based. People,
like that. Not even.
So you're going down them, Chris. Give us a look. So
starters.
So curry versus gravy. So
do I have to pick one of them?
No. So
you haven't explained this very well, mind Dan. You've explained this really bad. Like I'm just in a.
Right.
To me, I'm in a restaurant.
Wait.
You've got to build them up for this.
What a mess.
Come on, get it straight in your face. Come on, get it right.
This is a chip-based question. Right. So the menu is
food on your shoulder.
Good point.
This is always an ongoing topic. We never explain this well, and this is the way this is going to go forever.
All right, so that's how I run Ice Guys. So.
That's it. This was supposed to be quite. I mean,
before you I forget. I think of good things to say, then I forget them, and I'm like, what was it? We were doing the therapeutic workshop once, or one of the therapeutic workshops, and one of the things that the late Liam had brought was like, you had to sort of pick out traits, like, and you ended up with a very sort of loose personality type, and one of them was ambitious, and I'd said to my guys, I'm not very ambitious. I'm not always looking for the next level. If I find a spot, I'm comfortable. I'll stay with it. And I was like, and we got on talking about like Ice Guys, and I says with Ice Guys, like I'm more of the sort of person, like I'm not a perfectionist. I says with Ice Guys and with most of the stuff that I do, I'm more of a fuck it, that'll do. And the lads all started like sniggering, like it was totally true, and I was like, hang on, what are you laughing at there? It's like, yeah, well, it's obvious. The way Ice Guys was like, that'll do. And when we're organising stuff, it's just like it's last minute, and it's just like people ask us, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, but you're running it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what time is it? And I'm like, what's on about 7? Well, is it 7 or is it about 7? What time do we need to arrive?
It's between 6 or 7.
As long as you're there before it starts. It's like...
She got a loosey-goosey. Right. So, curry versus gravy. So, on your chips, what you having?
Oh, curry.
Curry?
Yeah.
Without a doubt?
Yeah.
Is there a vegan
Your face
version?
Went weird there.
No, is there no, this is a serious... we're talking serious.
Is this serious?
This is serious now. This is serious. I know it's out now, right? Yeah. You know? We'll flip the script.
Right, I'm ready.
Right? Is there a vegan gravy?
Yeah. Bisto do a lot of...
Do they? Is it any good, though?
I think the Bisto's actually vegan.
This question as well.
So the Bisto that people don't realise is vegan is vegan.
Right, okay.
In the red pots.
Yeah. Right, okay.
They do a vegetable one as well, like, but
it's gravy for everyone kind of thing. Yeah.
So campaign, is it?
Gravy for everyone.
Yeah, well, it should be. Well, we want to bring like back shandy, don't we? So
shandy for everybody. Beanies.
Yeah, beanies and shandy.
Beanies, the hats. Beanies.
No, beanies. The don't remember. Are we the same age group?
I'm 48.
Right, I'm 47.
All right.
Don't remember getting a beanie from the fish and chip shop. How long have you been vegan?
I wasn't vegan then. A bean? No.
Sausage meat with baked beans inside, but it looked like a fish cake.
No, I've never.
You didn't either, did you?
I've never
London. From Hampstead, isn't he? That posh is out.
Well, that can't be posh.
It was the antithesis of posh. It was nothing posh about it at all.
It sounds like it would have an effect like.
In London, well.
Okay. But a beanie.
Yeah. So let's back to the series.
Sorry.
Curry.
Yeah.
So curry on your chips. Are you doing butter?
No.
Not with the curry sauce. No, you're not a butter person.
Not a butter person. No.
Oh no. Right. Okay. And salt and vinegar
on the curry.
On your no.
Maybe sometimes put a bit of vinegar on. If I can put the vinegar on the chips before the curry goes on the top.
Yeah, because it rolls off, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Are you that particular? You're not bothered about that either?
Something very bad happened when I was younger. No.
Can't say that.
And it was, I was trying to eat me.
Somebody squirted vinegar in your eyes.
I was trying to eat me chips.
Threw a pot of curry in your face. Right? Curry trauma. That's what I was. Yeah. Chip chop trauma.
Shut up.
Right. So let's go another question off the list.
All right.
We'll do the Greg's last though.
So mains.
Documentary.
Last meal. What's my last meal?
Oh, aye, come on then. So
what if I was getting executed?
A vegan last meal, yeah. Your last meal on earth.
I mean, you don't have to get executed, but I mean...
No, yeah, it could be, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, but if it's going to be your last meal, you're going to not exist after the meal. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
if I knew if I was getting executed, I'm amazed that people can actually eat at that, but I'd be nervous. Please don't.
2 courses. We'd be just as nervous as the interview as well.
I've got some really crap things to live for.
Now somebody lifting the dome up and going, there you are, Chris. You go, nah, I can't eat that.
Be like, I'm a bit like,
I didn't feel like
I got nervous at a job interview, man. If I'm getting executed, I'd just be like, I can't eat, mate. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
So what would it be if you had 2 courses, last meal?
Probably some junk food, like.
Would it?
Maybe some like loaded fries or.
But you're not going for a starter and a main, or you're going to go main and dessert? What you doing?
Oh, main dessert. I normally go main and dessert. Aye.
You're a sweet tooth.
I'd have like what do I like? I quite like crumble.
Okay.
Like a crumble.
So you're on dirty fries or something like that? Did you say dirty fries? Something like that. So what's on the dirty fries?
You look so serious.
I am.
This is more serious than story. I was doing a deep dive into me psychological makeup.
We're talking about food now.
What you got on your fries?
Because you're going dirty fries.
So you skip
the batter on your chips. So I
know.
I want to know
just the crunch.
Fries.
Like I don't like the crunch.
Because dirty fries is what? It's like chips and a sauce and something else, or what's on
Chips
the
and
dirty fries?
Chips, chili, something spicy, but not too spicy.
Okay. And then you're going to
some
finish
vegan cheese.
Vegan cheese. That's what I was thinking, because usually it's cheese on.
Cheese.
But,
someone will be watching this guy. He said he was a vegan.
So it's
vegan cheese. So I know someone who gets annoyed that it's called vegan sausage.
Oh, vegan sausage.
Should just call it something else.
Yeah. Oh, and you got the Mills products.
I'm on it. Simon Biley. That's Simon Biley. I'm going to name him.
Right. So for dessert, what you going crumble or something like that? Did you say
crumble, or maybe like
apple crumble,
like what do I like cheesecake? Vegan cheesecake.
Cheese again?
Like a millionaire shortbread type thing.
Okay, so out of
I've got no particular, just quite a broad sweet
Some people
tooth.
are like dead set. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, this is locked in. Do you know what I mean? Been thinking about it for years. So
I like a carrot cake.
Who's thinking of their last meal for years?
Oh, people
on death row. Are you getting people on death row?
No, it's one of those like
special edition of the Heroes podcast.
After hours one. But it's one of those. It's your go-to favorite meal. So if you went out for a meal, where would you go? Like, would you go for an Indian or Chinese? Do you know what I mean? It's usually that Mexican, whatever. It's usually that.
I quite like stir fries.
Aye. So
but see, I'm not. Apart from being vegan, I'm not that much of it. I'm not a fussy eater.
Right.
I like a lot of things, so I haven't got anything pretty much hardwired into. Like, if somebody says, "Where do you want to go for a meal?" I'd be like, wherever.
So do you watch what you eat as well? Obviously, being in triathlon and stuff like that.
Not particularly. I think being vegan sort of lends itself to eating a little bit more healthy. But I don't really have any cause to watch what I eat. I've got quite a high metabolism, so I've always been naturally fairly skinny. So I've got that advantage. However, I do recognise that you can still be skinny and unhealthy. So I just eat just generally eat.
All right.
But not without. So like yesterday I went to the Peacock in town. I'd like the burger and chips, and then without thinking, that's excellent.
I shouldn't have
anything like that. The training does help. But in general, I'm kind of worried.
Interesting.
If we sat you right in the middle with Steve and Joe, it would be a perfect dynamic talking about this, wouldn't it?
It's kind of, because one's not that bothered and one is really bothered. But even Leo, when he's talking about, Lewis, because we can shorten his name.
Sorry, we keep on getting your name wrong, actually.
Sorry, Lewis, who run like Newcastle and New York. And he said he just eats anything he wants because he's burning it off all the time. Because you always think, you got to be self-conscious because you're healthy and you're fit and all that kind of stuff. Nah, I'm just burning through it. But I think he's very similar. He's quite a tall, thin fella, so his metabolism's probably really.
You've still got to even though you're burning the calories off, you've still got to be quite careful about the other the levels of like sugar that you're taking on things like that.
Hoover and cheesecake bar every 2 minutes.
Carrot cake's alright, isn't it?
That's what carrots are.
Try to make a plant-based chocolate fudge cake, but using beetroot. It was fucking awful.
Really? I like beetroot and chocolate cake.
Really?
Absolutely disgusting.
It must be quite hard to switch that over, like going full vegan.
We followed the menu and it looked amazing
from the pictures.
And we cut it and we me and my partner were both bit into it, and there was a moment of like, and then silence, and I just looked at each other, and she looked at me, and I just went,
what was it? The taste of beetroot that you didn't like? Was it the beetroot?
It was beetroot and chocolate. So it was just hot. It was not a good combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if you tried it.
We tried it with aubergines as well.
They make
didn't
good
work.
beetroot and chocolate cake.
It depends on how you do it. Because that's the thing, if you try and make something, like you said, it's like vegan sausage. Like, try and make something look like and taste like something else with the same texture.
Aye.
Just make something else.
Mm-hmm.
There must be something out there. What's your go-to dessert? What's the top go-to dessert for vegans? Because sometimes, you go to a restaurant.
I can't speak for all vegans, Dan. I don't know.
Are you not the king of vegans?
What's the go-to dessert for vegans? Didn't piss vegans off. I'm not saying that.
That's the title of the podcast.
Vegans.
Right, okay. Let's bring it home. What's your Greg's order?
Well, they used to do like quite nice pasties. The vegan baked pasties, like the spicy Mexican one.
Yeah.
But they've discontinued. I'm assuming because they don't sell as enough. So it's going to have to be a vegan sausage roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a glazed ring donut because they're vegan.
Okay.
Nice. Vegan friendly, that little thing says.
Yeah. Anything to drink with that?
What does the king of vegans drink there, Greg's?
I drink orange juice, something healthy. It's got loads of sugar in orange juice.
Did you say vegan orange juice? No oranges were harmed in the production of this orange juice.
It's just the fact is that you always you've got to imply it's vegan. Do you know what I mean? It has to have that label all the time, doesn't it? Where you fail, you have to see it all the time.
No, I would probably get like Luke was here, fizzy pop. I like fizzy pop.
Fizzy pop.
Aye.
What's your favourite pop?
Iron Brew.
Remember the pop man as a kid?
Aye. With sarsaparilla, glass bottles and that. Used to love that. Are you bringing back shandy? Did you say shandy's quite nice?
Because the kids don't drink shandy anymore. Like kids don't drink shandy, which is what we say. But we used to drink this. It's the best thing as a kid. Nice.
It's got in the I can drink like some of the no alcohol beers and that are like 0.5%.
Yeah.
So I'll drink them because obviously you wouldn't be able to drink enough to have any kind of psychological effects or hangover. But shandy, I haven't had shandy for ages. Bass shandy
Bass shandy was the best one.
Especially when it's ice cold.
Yeah.
It's nice and refreshing, isn't it?
Exactly.
I can get behind you again. You bring back shandy.
Bring back shandy, yeah.
You see it at the camera.
That's the best thing.
Bring back shandy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Please.
Chris, thanks so much.
Thanks, Chris. Is
that it?
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Normally we're in. It's like 5 hours.
Started yet?
I haven't even cried yet. Got a bit emotional.
The back chop comes down the list.
Did a thing with Dan Prince and he didn't match cry. He must be mellowing in his old age.
All right, cheap plug, patreon.com/local heroes VIP. Go and check it out. Go and support us, please. Keep the lights on.
You rehearsed that?
I've not rehearsed it, but I was gonna say it before at the start, but I forgot to say it. I was going to lean into the funding thing.
Just cut it in.
But we need to plug him, we need to plug him. We need to.
He spends ages in front of him.
We need to build the membership. I've not.
Thinks he's Robert De Niro, man, doesn't he?
You know what? Because I've typed it out so many times this week. I've typed it on the clips. I'm like, I know what I was saying. Lovely, cheers.
Thank you. It's been fun.